This is a Cho'Gath one trick, and this is me. So for the next 10 hours, I'm gonna try to learn Cho'Gath in 3 steps. First, normal games, second, do some research, and third, play some ranked games. I'm doing this because I'm trying to learn every champion so one day I can make the greatest Viego video ever. So what runes and build should I go? So here's the most common build. Grasp of the Undying is your main rune, and your build is Heartsteel into full tank. But the build I recommend is AP Bruiser Cho'Gath. The rune page is First Strike, and then you build Rod of Ages, Riftmaker, and then go Tanker AP depending on what your team needs. Tanky options are things like Frozen Heart, Abyssal Mask, Jack Show, Force of Nature, and Thornmail. AP options are things like Zhonya's, Abyssal Mask, Deathcap, Cosmic Drive, and Hextech Protobelt. This build slowly developed over the course of this challenge, but by hour 6 or 7, I really started to get the hang of it. Anyway, onto some normal games. My first Cho'Gath game did not start the way I wanted it to. I did get my first ult kill of the challenge though, which was nice. But a little later, I was baited into thinking I would get another kill just for Briar to heal like 20 billion HP, but don't worry, I got my revenge on her a little bit later. All in all, this was a pretty unlucky first game. I got placed mid, every lane lost, and I kinda just felt like a giant punching bag right now. It's okay, hopefully I get top next game. My next game started off interesting. He's playing Little Devil Teemo. I can't wait to eat his ass. Wait. Poor word choice aside, this game got off to a much better start than my last game, even though I ulted the wrong person here. I ulted too soon. I also got my first taste of, I don't have my ult, I use on a fucking minion, which is going to happen more than once this challenge, I'm sure. Also, I know I'm going tanky Cho'Gath here, and I do play it for the first 4 or 5 hours. I really wanted to give it a chance before I tried the AP build. But also, can we just appreciate how I missed every ability on this guy and still just ate him? Eventually, I got so big I was an actual monster, but during this fight, some wise words echoed in my head. I don't have my ult, I use on a fucking minion. Overall, my first game of top Cho'Gath was pretty good, and I'll admit being tank Cho'Gath does, in fact, make you quite tanky. I just kind of walk at them and they run in fear. This champion feels unkillable. In my next game, I think you can say I got a little bit excited. He doesn't have TP, and I ate his ass. I'm gonna keep saying it, because even though it doesn't sound good, okay, it feels amazing.
What did he say?
Unfortunately, my next attempt to eat Urgot did not go as well as the first. A few deaths later, I did manage to finally win a 1v1, but even that one was ridiculously close. Anyway, fast forward a little bit and I'd come back into the game. I was huge, but I don't think flanking Cho'Gath is quite as good as flanking Gwen or Camille. In the end, we lost the game because they outscaled us and because I kind of fed Urgot trying to eat him so many times early game. I think I just need to relax for my next game. But let me tell you, my next game was anything but relaxed. Immediately, we had a super close 2v2 fight top lane that actually I think I played pretty well. I'm so fucking talented. That was followed by another huge fight for Void Grubs a few minutes later. I mean, sure, these fights are going great, but I really just want to relax this game and eat some minions. Alas, even though we were doing really well early game, all of a sudden we just started losing these chaotic random fights and I was starting to feel kinda useless. And when it came down to the final fight, I actually thought we were gonna win. We had killed Silas early and I was soaking a lot of damage, but just when it looked like we were gonna all make it out alive, Zeri flashed forward and killed everybody. After these normal games, I realized Cho'Gath feels pretty outdated. So I did some research on YouTube and here's what I found. 1. Wait until your opponent goes for CS to Q. This makes landing the skill shot easier because either your opponent gets the CS but takes damage, or they dodge the skill shot and miss the CS, both of which are a win. 2. You should try to ult 6 minions as soon as possible. However, don't waste your ult if you might need it soon. If an objective is coming up or the enemy jungler is nearby, save it to secure the objective or get a kill in a gank. 3. I played Cho'Gath way too aggressive early game because I thought I would just heal a ton with my passive. However, you kind of just need the passive to survive the laning phase, so play safe and just ult your opponent if they mess up. And with that, on to some ranked games. With this new information, I went into my next game and died immediately. To be totally honest though, my lane didn't end up mattering that much. Our team fight was so nuts that as soon as Amumu landed this huge ult, the game was just over. A few minutes later, our Jinx was so far ahead that she just took over the last team fight after another great Amumu ult. The second Amumu ult, the first one was Silas. I wasn't thrilled, but a win's a win. My next game was against a Gwen, and this is when I really started to get annoyed with tank Cho'Gath. I just feel like there are so many champions and items that do max HP damage and have amazing ability, which just makes Cho'Gath feel useless. My frustration definitely got the better of me this game, and I started just running into fights without thinking, just hoping for a kill. And finally, when I did get a kill, my ult wasn't even up. I don't have my ult, I use on a fucking minion. We lost this game pretty bad, but my chat convinced me to try tank one more game. Luckily for me, my next game was against a Malphite who I actually counter, so the lane got off to a good start. And thanks to being super tanky, I actually managed to survive a gank long enough to also get a solo kill when they tried to dive me. And even though I know it's not the build's fault this game, I just felt like the enemy team completely ignored me. I watched video clips of AP Cho'Gaths during my research portion, and it just seemed way more fun and useful. After this game, I just wanted to try something new. So I got on the next day with a completely new build and mindset. My plan was rush Rod of Ages, max Q first, and become more of a mage that pokes from afar. It kind of started working immediately. I hadn't quite decided what to build after Rod of Ages yet, but apparently with just a little extra AP, I was doing so much more damage. We won the game 21-9 in 15 minutes. But the real test for this AP build would come against Darius, a famously strong champion during the laning phase. And using my new poke and sustain playstyle, by the time the first fight happened, I was already up a level, and I was able to absolutely destroy the enemy team in a fight for grubs. And this lead continued to grow, because with this AP build, if you land just one Q, it can just lead to a kill. A little later, as I tried to 1v1 the enemy Irelia, my famous words started to ring in my ears. I don't have my ult, I use on a fucking minion. Oh, wait, we got the kill anyway. Unfortunately, despite how good things looked, the score was 12-30, so we surrendered. During game 10, someone in chat told me I should build Riftmaker because its AP scales with bonus HP, something Cho'Gath has a lot of. I mean, sure, I was also just getting better at Cho'Gath, hitting more Qs, but this new AP build, every Q felt so much more satisfying. I will admit though, this build was definitely a lot squishier than tank Cho'Gath, so fights could be really close if I wasn't careful. Another game where the enemy team surrendered in 15 minutes. Going into my next game, it was extra important I won because the enemy top laner recognized me. Ah! It's so crazy, like the 10 hours guy. Yes, sir. But apparently this viewer was faker or something because he outplayed the fuck out of this 2v1 and killed me. Luckily, Poppy overstayed and I got a big shutdown and double buffs. And even though the game wasn't going great early, our team started to come alive during our first big fight. I landed like every Q, I landed every W, and even though I didn't have my ult, I knew this fight was a huge win. And things kept getting better and better for me as my team kept fighting in the top side. I was kind of automatic with these Qs now, and I was getting rewarded for it. Still had my fair share of silly plays though. Fast forward 10 minutes and we were pretty far behind. But I flash ulted the Kai'Sa to start a big fight. Without their AD carry, this was the fight we could win, and if we won, we could get back in the game for sure. A few minutes later, we got a pick on the enemy Kassadin, and the enemy team made this desperate attempt to fight us 4v5. To make things better, our AD carry was finally online and absolutely destroyed the enemy team. I'm really starting to like this build. Game 12 started off pretty rough when we lost a 2v2 top lane. I missed a crucial Q on Darius that would have gotten me a kill, but instead, Skarner and I both died. But just like the last few games, our team came alive during our big fight for Void Grubs. Once again, I didn't have ult, but it didn't matter if I land every freaking Q. My team was just awesome this game. Even though I was doing pretty well, my team was just better than theirs. Skarner was getting picks, Anivia was there, I guess, and Varus and Brand did so much damage. If they were alive, we were winning the fight. I will admit, things got a little bit scary when we lost a big Baron fight, and I don't think we could have played worse. Skarner pulled Kayle out of my queue, Brand missed literally every ability, I played way too far back even though I was a tank, and our Varus walked up too far and died. Luckily, the enemy team pushed too long with their Baron, we caught them all out, and we won the game a few minutes later. My next game started off with a crazy 1v1 top lane. Take it all in because Cho'Gath gameplay doesn't get much more exciting than this. Then I got another kill at Void Grubs, and before I knew it, the score was 37-19 and we were just marching into the enemy's base. It was one of those games where every lane won, and according to the enemy chat, the enemy Wukong started trolling. That's like 4 wins in a row with this build, and the way my next game started, it looked like the win streak was gonna continue. And I don't know what this Alawi was thinking, but trying to dive me with no minions in my ult range is kinda crazy. Anyway, for a while, things looked really good. I got an amazing flank that led to a huge winning team fight, and I knew if we could just keep winning fights like this, there was no way we could lose. Unfortunately, in the very next fight, it did not go very well. We killed Alawi early, so he tried to force a 5v4, but the enemy Yasuo went bonkers and basically killed our whole team. Womp womp. So I went into my next game with a vengeance. He's dead, he doesn't have flash, or he can't flash because he was silenced. I even kind of styled on him a little bit. Well, for a Cho'Gath. And I just killed him over and over and over again. And things were looking pretty good for us until the enemy team got an insane flank on us. I mean, this was actually just a really good call from them. I'm not even mad about it. We just got outplayed. Unfortunately, that fight kinda lost us the game. We just fell further and further behind, and in the end, my team got caught out while I was matching Silas's split push. Oh yeah, they also had Soul and Elder Dragon. Going into the final hour, I was a little bit tilted, until I got a free double kill and an ult stack early game. And even though I was doing pretty well this game, the rest of my team was doing amazing. After this fight top lane, the score was already 20-7. We ended up winning 36-10 in just 20 minutes. Game 17 was against one of Cho'Gath's worst matchups, Fiora. But it turned into one of my best games of the whole challenge. Oh wait, he's dead. You're fucking dead, idiot! Oh, that's so fucking big. Yeah, we won this game 33-5. The more I play Cho'Gath, the more I think I underestimated his early damage. Or maybe people just don't fully understand how Cho'Gath works because nobody plays him. Whatever it is, this champion really started to grow on me during this challenge. I at first thought he was gonna suck, but I hadn't unlocked his full potential yet. As the clock wound down and my final game was coming to a close, I can honestly say I will probably play more Cho'Gath in the future. And even though we lost this game in the end, I had a good time and I think I learned a lot. From laning to playstyle to landing my freaking Qs, I was just proud of how far I came in 10 hours.